Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, Billy Ho here. Week 14 DraftKings video. This is going to be an insider info video on some wide receiver matchups and maybe a few tidbits with the running backs and filling in those empty pieces. Also going to have some sub 5K, obviously going to be low owned, low key, and you can use them as run backs because they're going to be different from your chalkier run backs in some of these games. I was up late last night doing some research, and I think I did a little bit of deeper diving. I know I did a little deeper diving than most 60% of people that play DraftKings do, because they're going to be like Pat Mayo always says, the shitter guy doing his lineups on the toilet Sunday morning. And you're going to have other guys that go, I know this game, and I'm going to look at the totals, and I see the biggest difference. They're going to do some research, but this is deeper than Atlantis like type shit. So we're going to get into it right quick. So make sure you subscribe to the video and stick around. Look at the timestamps if there's particular games that you want to look at, because we're going to get her going. Let's start. All right. And the first game we're obviously going to start with is this mega chalky Minnesota-Detroit. We're going to try to get you off some of that chalk if we can. The first thing I wanted to talk about, and I'll post it when I post the video, is Justin Jefferson. Obviously, he's an elite play. He's the most expensive player, I do believe, on the entire slate. And he is elite. He deserves it. I mean, he gets the massive target shares. It's double-digit targets, and you could probably rinse and repeat that. Receptions, he's probably going to get. But I wonder, when he plays these more elite teams, that he doesn't. He's got some games where he beats guys, and he's got 32, 38, 28, 33, 34. Chicago's dump water. New Orleans wasn't very good. The Green Bay was actually an excellent performance by him, but it was a piss poor performance by Green Bay's secondary and their coverage unit. But the first piece of information I want to give you on Justin Jefferson versus the Detroit Lions defense, if you go back and look, I mean, just your average guy will look back and go, God, 3 for 14. That's his worst game of the season. Certainly was, and here is why. The Detroit Lions have a new rookie corner, Jeff Okudah, and he is a rising star. People talk about Sauce Gardner and all this other stuff. This dude is an elite cornerback. He, get this, 85% shadowed Justin Jefferson on this week 3 matchup. And with a little help from safeties, they double coverage and bottled up Jefferson quite well. Now, I'll tell you this is game 2, different situation. The Vikings will obviously watch film on this game, so they're going to make adjustments. So it's not like they're just going to instantly, you can just chalk him up to bottling him up again, because he could still go for 2 touchdowns and 100 yards, no problem. So, but I just want, this is information only. I'm not telling you to play him, I'm not telling you not to play him, but this is inside info. So here we go. Obviously, St. Brown is going to be the most owned wide receiver. I imagine 25, 30% for the most part, with good reason. He's still fairly priced. They did get him up finally to 7,800. And he was against Minnesota 6 for 73. Not great. I mean, 13 coming off that monster game against Washington. He had a middling performance, and they did a pretty decent job on him. He is he runs a lot in the slot, and Chandler Sullivan was the nickelback covering him, and I'm sure he had a lot of double coverage. The Vikes have been absolutely hemorrhaging. I was talking about this in the Discord, hemorrhaging yardage both ways, really. So, you got your DeAndre Swifts and your the vulture, Jamal Williams, who's going to get one of those touchdowns most likely. But you can see the passing yardage. I mean, 304 straight weeks over 300 yards, and it's not like they played juggernaut quarterbacks. Dak's been in, the game manager role almost, and Josh Allen was probably still feeling that elbow injury, and then you got Mac Jones and Mike White. So, and then you got rushing yards, a $150 to Dallas, obviously, $175 to Buffalo, who's, 137 to Washington. So their defense, and people will tell you that's why Vegas has them as an underdog, even though they're 10-2. People think that they're going to show their true colors sooner or later, but that's what I wanted to get into. Now, if you want to get off of this ASB Jefferson chalk, DJ Chark, he's back for his third. They kept him off the board a little bit weak, but he's had 2 games, increased role, and I think if they really go after St. Brown, he is going to be your guy. And Reynolds is the other guy. He played 60 snaps last week, and he had pretty good results against. I believe he was the leading receiver against Minnesota last time they played. The outside corners for Minnesota suck. So Chark, I think, is going to be a very good sub 5K. There's ding, number 1 sub 5K player. I mean, if you want to throw Reynolds in there as well, but Chark was one I had checked. The other one is right on the other side, obviously. KJ Osborne, 2. He is the slot receiver, and he had the best game against Minnesota. Against Detroit. 5 for 73 and a touchdown, his best game of the season. 3,500, you could do worse if they do happen to have the same or similar success against Justin Jefferson. And Thielen, I worry about Thielen. He's always in play, but he was they did pretty good job on him as well last time out. Well, 6 for 61 and a touchdown. So Thielen's in there. He's another pivot. My bad on that one. But KJ Osborne, if you're looking for the pay down, especially if you do a Cousins stack, then you can stack Cousins with Jefferson and you can go Reynolds. And obviously in this game as well, TJ Hawkinson, I'm going to be very interested in him at 5,100 because I think if you can get down, you could mini stack this game right there with KJ Osborne and Hawkinson and feel good that you saved a bunch of money and you got a piece of this game. So I kind of like doing stuff like that this week. But that's all for that game. I hope that helps you a little bit. The next game I wanted to talk about was the Jets in Buffalo. We don't know. Keep an eye on the weather. That's all I can say. Anyway, this game, I do believe they played the Jets in week 9. And I can't remember if this was the elbow game. He got there, though. Josh Allen can get there if they can score under 20 points and he can still almost get 30 DraftKings points. He's ridiculous. And, I can't fault anybody for playing him, but this is a tough matchup, but they are at home. So that's good. And Buffalo, traditionally is a good home team. So they could definitely put it on the Jets, but the Jets are one of the best secondaries in the league. You got Sauce Gardner, who we talked about. There's I believe Dane Jackson, and DJ Reed is the other one. Keep an eye on DJ Reed. He covers, I believe we'll be covering Stephon Diggs, but he is questionable this week. So I forget what it was, probably a knee injury, I think, or something like that. But it is a actual lower extremity, knee, leg, hamstring, groin, whatever. So keep an eye on him. If he doesn't play, Stephon Diggs is definitely going to go up my board. But I'm not, and he could get a piece of Sauce Gardner. Now Sauce covered in week 9 Gabe Davis, and so if he does that again, I don't see Gabe Davis doing much of nothing, even though he is a pretty good value at 5,300. McKenzie is interesting in the slot. He can, that's what turned me on to maybe having Osborne in the slot against Detroit. because he had a good game against them. Remember on Thanksgiving, everybody's like, "Oh man, Diggs and Davis didn't do shit," and Isaiah McKenzie's breaking the slate at 4K. So he could be, and Josh Allen is not afraid to throw to him. He is a reliable receiver. He's almost as reliable as Gabe Davis now, and he's 1,100 cheaper. So be on the lookout for that. Now pivoting to the other side, I believe, of course, Garrett Wilson's going to be everybody's lover boy this week. So we don't know what's going on with Wilson versus Davis. Davis is questionable. I like Corey Davis this week, but Trey White is back. He is their best cornerback. So I am going to be afraid to play him. Dane Jackson is the other one. If Dane Jackson is on Wilson, Wilson's probably going to have a good game because I think Dane Jackson covered him last time at Buffalo and he went 8 for 92. So, he 17-9. So I think Garrett Wilson's pretty safe. I think you can run a Mike White stack in this game and be okay just by matchups. And I would go low. If you play a bunch of lineups, I would go more McKenzie and Diggs than I would Gabe Davis. Just FYI on that. And other guys to play are I still like Conklin. I don't know what the coverage will be like, but like I said, Trey White back, he may cover. I don't know how much he didn't really. He shadows about half the time, maybe. So we'll look at that, and then obviously people are talking about James Cook, and I think he does start to tilt the tide a little bit. I don't know if this was just a one-off. I'm going to do a little bit more looking into it, but the guy can catch some passes. If he can catch 2 for say 30 yards, then you get your 5. And then if he can get, 10 or 11 carries, he's just as effective or more so than Singletary. So they seem to be more comfortable with him. He got in the doghouse a little bit early with that, like week 1 with the fumble. But he hasn't fumbled since that week 1, fumbled and lost. So I think that he's a rookie, and by this time of the year, they're getting they're comfortable in their own skin and being in the NFL and all that good stuff with the offense and blah blah blah. I digress. This game could be more run heavy. Like I said, both pass defenses are good with Trey White's return. Now Buffalo has a 26-point implied total from Vegas, which is going to lead people to do some stacking here. I don't buy it 100%. Now I'm not saying they can't score 26, but that's a fairly tall order for a pretty solid defense in the Jets. So next game up, we are going to go over and check out this Tennessee-Jacksonville game. I'm encouraged by what I'm hearing from Trevor Lawrence that he plans on playing. I think he's going to be good to go. He came back in this game second half last week and played fine. He ran a little bit and he looked okay. The sprain left big toe, feels better. So, he can get a pain injection, and I think he'll be fine. They'll probably treat him with kid gloves, but this is a good game for to throw on. Obviously, we watched last week where the Eagles had their way with them, but it's open season on this secondary. Christian Fulton is questionable. He was the dude that got run over by A.J. Brown on that 41-yard touchdown, and he hurt his groin and left the game. So if you remember that play, I don't see how you could not. And it sucked for him because it was just a cut, and he just kind of got fooled, and then he got in A.J. Brown's way, and it was a free play for A.J. Brown to just run him right over and get an easy touchdown. I mean, I don't know. That's just that should be like a dead ball foul or something. It's not even fair to hand somebody a touchdown and he got the penalty. But anyway, you got him. If he doesn't play, it's definitely on. Then you got other guys like Roger McCreary and Trey Avery who are pretty weak tight action as far as coverage concerned. So we're back to Zay Jones week. Last week against Detroit, remember what I told you. about Okuda. He probably got some Okuda action, I do believe, if I remember right. 4,700 Zay Jones, ding, sub 5K. Christian Kirk in the slot, 6,600. They still he keeps creeping up there, but those two, and if you want to take a shot at 3,800 Marvin Jones, I'm all right with that. Obviously, Ingram is hit or miss, but Zay Jones and Christian Kirk, you can straight up stack those two, and then run a Lawrence quarterback and your run back option, Derrick Henry. He'll be in another video I'll be putting out called Slate Breakers. I think I'll put that out on Friday or something like that. But I think we'll see a lot of Henry this week, obviously, because I don't know if our boy Treylon Burks is going to make it out of protocol. It's still early, but he took a shot, and people are just instantly cutting him out. But sometimes it depends. You can tell by looking at the player after the play, and he came off the field kind of holding his helmet and just like he was trying to keep his head from falling off, is what it looked like. So when I see stuff like that, you get your bell rung. He's a young player. You don't want to take a chance on a reoccurrence, because once you get that one concussion, everybody knows you're starting to get more success. Ugh, say it twice. Anyway, you know what I mean. It's just like spraining your ankle. The first time you ever sprained your ankle as a teenager playing basketball, then it just becomes susceptible to spraining it again. So that's all I got to say about that. And the next game I wanted to cover, a game I'm really warming up to. I was going to be scared of it. Is the Philly and New York Giants game. They're like, oh, at New York, slogfest, Giants play, blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, in a sense, keep an eye on Adoree Jackson, who's probably the best cornerback. He's questionable. He didn't play last week or got injured. I can't recall. But if you watch that game, I mean, Heine was passing out Heinekens to everybody. I mean, I believe Dotson, I believe Samuel, I believe Scary Terry. They all were in the act, and they were throwing all over the Giants last week, and that's Heine. I mean, now we got our dude, Jalen Hurts, make them hurt. This is a good, I mean, it's an expensive game stack, and it's a game stack where, you can pivot one way or the other. And maybe you just have to force yourself into a single game stack and make two lineups where you go Hurts, Deontay. That's what I did. I made a couple of builds just out of curiosity with one or the other and not both, because I think that's too expensive. I don't think he gets them both there this week, but I like one or the other, and they are obviously the two dudes he's throwing to. He doesn't have his tight end anymore. Quez is interesting. He's questionable, but Quez, I mean, he's a bonus sub 5K guy too. He's been in the act. 6 targets, 5 targets. If he can get that many targets in this game, I'd feel pretty comfortable running him. He can always get deep on you too. So, and he hasn't done that in a while. You see 30, he hasn't done that since week 10. So he might be able to get deep. Keep an eye on him. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Fabian Moreau, Nick McLeod, and this guy Cordell, he's a rookie, Flott. Those are all kind of the lower tiered guys. So I don't know. But if Adoree Jackson does play, he'll be on AJ Brown. But I still, I still wouldn't be shying away from playing AJ Brown. But if Adoree Jackson does miss the game, like I said, open season. So I like that. Anyway, now over to, and then of course you got run backs. Slayton and Barkley are going to be everybody's two most popular. But let me throw this at you. Richie James Jr. It plays the slot, and he's for 3,600. If he can get, I mean, the touchdown is what you want for your 4x, but I don't think he's going to kill you this week. I think that he plays the slot, and I think that's the best position against this excellent Philly secondary. Darius Slayton, James Bradbury combo. So I'm looking at, and also the new guy Hodgins. is I think might be a guy to look at. But my favorite play to run back would be Richie James or not running anybody back at all. You can get away with that if you don't like the other team's guys. So, but Barkley, I think, might be all right because Philadelphia is a run funnel. So get on that. Now, next game up, we are going to talk. Let's see. I'm going to cover this Cleveland Cincy game first. Now, Cleveland Cincy, this is an interesting game. I was almost like, okay, I just, maybe play Mixon because I think Mixon's going to clear. He's already practicing in full. So I guess the official maybe the Saturday's clearance day, like it's on sale or something. So he may have the Q tag up till then, but I guarantee you this Q tag is going to be gone by Sunday morning at least. 6,900 is a bargain against a weak Cleveland defense. Cincinnati at home. And I believe they're going to be looking for a bit of payback after they got their ass beat on Monday Night Football a few weeks back. Ryan, I think, will probably still cut into Mixon's load a little bit since Mixon's missed a couple of games. But that's what you're looking at. And I think the Bengals defensive team at 3,500 is also a very good play. They're stingy defense. And Deshaun Watson is still working his way back. Although I don't know if you're going to get many interceptions because unless the ground is on your team, because that's where all the balls were going. I never seen anybody more inaccurate. He couldn't even throw a 7-yard out route without throwing it straight into the dirt. So, and it's not like the wind blew it because they were in a fucking dome last week. So I don't know. We'll see. He'll probably be better, but this is not a good spot for anybody on Cleveland, in my opinion, because the Bengals are pretty tough against the run too. So Peoples-Jones, maybe if you're doing run backs, he's still sub 5K. He's a guy that'll get it done for you. Amare, he's still an elite receiver. But Chase and Higgins, I kind of like this week, actually, warming up to. Chase will be on my future video. Higgins can be too. They either or, but 7K is a tall order. It's going to be hard to tell. People say Cincinnati struggles against Cleveland anyway, but that doesn't mean anything. These are one-offs to me, and I'm going to leave it at that. So the last game I wanted to cover is the last game on the slate. Carolina, Seattle. This is a nice matchup. Now for Carolina, their defense is actually better than their rankings. They're better. For a team that scores points like they do, 31st or 23rd against the run and 21st against the pass for a Panthers team. I guess they're weak competition, but 11, 9, 10, they score DraftKings points. Of course, that's Denver and Atlanta squeezed in there. They've played some pretty weak top teams. Obviously, they're division opponents. So maybe that's a lot of the reason. Seattle's a pretty elite offense, so I think they're going to have good luck. I don't see Ken Walker playing, barring a miracle. They talking about what his injury is, jammed foot, unique injury or whatever, but it looked really, really painful. So I'm going to just call him doubtful and swing it my way a little bit. Pete Carroll's always wishy-washy with injuries. The guy I would play, Dante Foreman, obviously, but Chuba Hubbard, he got a lot more work than I originally thought. So I'm not sure about the run game. Obviously, Seattle's super run funnel, run all day on them. But Foreman and Hubbard are one or the other. Foreman, I believe, getting a Q tag for a Wednesday rest day. He does have a knee. He's a little banged up. He's a violent runner. So if for some reason Foreman sits, you got Hubbard all day at 4,800. So watch out for that. The other run back, DJ Moore, is the main dude. 5,500 is too cheap for him. When you got a guy like at least Darnold is capable of throwing him the football, not Faker, Mayfield. Now, obviously, Lockett and Metcalf. They are fire it up all day. This is a mini stack game for me. Or you could roll Geno. Like I said, it's cheaper than the Hurts stack. but it is still kind of expensive. GPP only. From I'm going to do a one or the other. Like I'll make two lineups and play these two guys in the flex, flip flop them. I think that's good stat. And then you can squeeze in the Detroit, and you can still get Dallas. Of course, Dallas. We already know. I discussed that in the previous video. Running backs and defense and CD Lamb. Maybe Dalton Schultz. I don't know. But anyway, back to this game. Terrence Marshall, maybe. These are just one offs. Like I said, it's going to be Metcalf and Lockett all day. I'm going to keep playing DK Metcalf because he gets more targets and he gets more intermediate. And Lockett's a little bit more boom bust, but like I said, 3 for 7, 3 for 5, but he's got a touchdown streak going. And that kind of scares me because sooner or later he's not going to score a touchdown. But if he gets 9 for 128 and doesn't score a touchdown, 6,500, he's still getting there. So I believe I mentioned, J.C. Horn and C.J. Henderson are the cornerbacks. J.C. Horn is, I think, going to be the guy maybe on DK. So I actually like Lockett in this game a little bit better because I think maybe the C.J. Henderson he'll get. So Lockett at cheaper price is always good for a big game. So these guys always go overlooked and low owned. So keep an eye on them. Either one of these guys are dropping 30. Obviously, they both dropped 30 last week. So Gino can get him there. He's shown to be efficient, and that's what I like about him. All right, that'll do it for the video. I hope you liked it. Insider information. I'll have some more videos coming out soon. We're going to talk season-long PGA golf. It's coming up, fan tracks. I believe all my leagues that I created and put on the Rick Run Good channel are full, but I got 5 guys in my Discord that need to join our invite-only league, or I'm going to open it up to the rest of the Discord fellas and fill it. But you still got some time. I'm not trying to pressure you. So until the next video, we'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.